Hi friends, welcome to Pictures and Paintings.
I started this parrot series with a blue and gold macaw. Since then, I have done 7 paintings. I decided to choose one more blue and gold macaw for the eighth one. And it was amazing how much I have learned in these 3 months. And it was a completely different experience painting this one. This is Sivaraman. Today I'm going to walk you through some of the thought process I had while painting this image and what I did differently from the previous one. I don't trace my pictures, I do a freehand drawing. So the first big step for me is to ensure I get my sketches right. In this painting, the bird was leaning at a certain angle. So during sketching, I wanted to get it right. Small little things like the pupil position in the eyes, the expression in the beaks, all those subtleties, putting in those details during pencil sketching allows us a little bit more flexibility to play around if it is not coming to our satisfaction. I also used the sketching stage as a brainstorming time to understand where I'm going to be putting in the feather details and where just leave it for the viewer's interpretation. And looking back, I don't think that I did that enough in the first one. Even now, when I see that painting, I still feel the eye could be better and the beaks could have been a little bit more smaller and things like that. In this painting, I pushed my limits a little bit more and I also started adding detail to the skin. While I was painting, it looked like I was spending a lot of time and I wasn't really convinced with how it was coming also. Even my 11-year-old daughter who was passing by, she stopped for a minute and then she was commenting saying, "Do you really think this is coming out well?" I was a little demotivated. I took a break, came back after some time, and then when I looked at my own painting, the details are all very subtle. But then I knew that when I complete the picture, it is going to come in handy. Where the pictures slowly started giving me that confidence that it is going to turn out good is when I started adding the feathers in the face. That small element added the required contrast to the face. Life is all about learning, and many times it is just about not giving up. In this case, I took a break, gathered myself back, and then decided to keep going. This keeps happening in our house. We spend a lot of time painting together on weekends. She's learning acrylic, and I paint watercolor, and we are each other's biggest critic. But then occasions like this also teaches me how important confidence is. Sometimes when we are in the middle of a painting, it's very easy to doubt our own process, our own techniques. Life is all about learning. One thing that I have picked up during the course of this series is to start my painting with the face. Once I get those right, even for me, it gives me a lot of confidence to paint the rest of the bird. And also, it allows me to have the sense of how much detail is required for the remaining portion. With the hard part completed, I started painting the chest feathers. I used a combination of Indian yellow and permanent orange. So for the feathers, I used a wet on wet technique. Wet on wet technique is nothing but applying a layer of water first and then a coat of wet paint before the water gets dried. Wet paint on a wet surface is called wet on wet. And one other thing which happens is as the paint starts drying, adding a few droplets of water disturbs the paint, giving some blooms. Some people like it, some people might not enjoy the blooms, but I like it. I feel that's what differentiates watercolor from any other medium. And in fact, I use it to my advantage by using it to create variation within the base wash. Even here, if you notice it, some of those blooms helps create the illusion that there are a lot more feathers painted than actually what was. One practical challenge I had in my previous images was when I give a base wash, the penciling details were also getting washed out, and it was getting hard for me to figure out where I had originally intended the feather details to be in. And then I ended up painting a lot more details than I had wanted. This happened in particular with the Scarlet Macaw, which I painted a week back. So this time I wanted to try a slightly different technique where I wanted to first paint the shadow lines and then go for the wash. I'm still exploring my style, so I don't mind trying out different techniques. I should say this particular technique that I tried out here worked out for me. In fact, whatever planning I did during the sketching stage, I just I was able to continue with that. I did not have to figure out where I had originally intended what. And I would like to try this in a few more paintings before I decide whether it's a process which can be consistently used across multiple images. But one thing is for sure, I definitely took lesser time to paint using this technique compared to what I have been using so far. With one pass of the entire bird painted, it was time to add a few more details. I added some highlights to the eyes, scratch mark on the beaks, and then a little bit of darkness around the place where the wings and the chest feathers meet. I did not want to overdo this and make it more complicated, so left it with these basic additions. One other thing that I tried in this macaw painting is to go in for a lot more saturated colors than my first blue and gold macaw. I also tried a lot of orange variant along with the yellow and a little bit of purple in the dark side of the wings. And all those subtle additions actually I feel made the picture a little bit more vibrant compared to the previous one. One other thing that I tried in this macaw painting is to go in for a lot more saturated colors than my first blue and gold macaw. I also tried a lot of orange variant along with the yellow and a little bit of purple in the dark side of the wings. And all those subtle additions actually I feel made the picture a little bit more vibrant compared to the previous one. With the bird almost completed, the next big decision is to decide what kind of background would work. Before I talk about it, I just wanted to take a moment to check with you what you think of these videos. If you have any thoughts, please feel free to write an email to us or leave a comment here. And if you like what you are seeing, please encourage us with a thumbs up. And either ways, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Between me and my daughter, every week we try to share a 7-8 minute video. I'm sure you will enjoy and have fun watching it. Now, with the marketing pitch completed, let's get back to how the background process went. Background was a little tricky decision for me to make because the picture was really working wonderfully well with a white background, and I was completely tempted to leave it as it is. In general, I love experimenting with my techniques and paintings, so I could not resist the temptation. Decided to go with the very muted desaturated colors to ensure it is not competing with the bird itself. And again, I had used a wet on wet technique and used the water droplets to break the colors. At the end of the day, I was pretty much happy with how the picture had turned out. But then my daughter still gave me a thumbs down. For the last 3-4 videos, I have done voiceover and shared my thought process and my techniques. Unfortunately, it's highly demanding and time consuming. It also eats into my weekend painting time. For the next few videos, I am thinking of skipping that part. If anyone wants any information, please feel free to reach out either through comments or through an email. We will definitely respond.
Thank you for watching this. See you soon in the next one. Until then, bye bye.